Hello, welcome to SwitchedOn, Paul speaking, and welcome to a look at a new game that's come out today from our friends at NIS America, and that's The Legend of Hero Trails of Cold Steel. This is a very, very popular JRPG that's been around for donkey's years, but thankfully the third entry has come to the Switch, and we've just learned, I believe we've only just learned this week, that the fourth entry, the new game that's coming out, is also coming to the Switch as well, day on day with the PlayStation 4, I believe. So, excellent news there. So, before we get into this, I'm just going to show you something here. There is a backstory part to the main menu when you first boot the game. Now, this is because the Trails series, or the Legend of Hero series, is such a deep series of RPG games and animes that it really is a prerequisite that you kind of know what's going on. Now I'm gonna sort of preface that with a little interjection that basically I've never played any of this series before, not in earnest anyway. But I've been playing Trails 3 here on the Switch for about 5 hours. We'll get to that in a second, my playtime in this. But I played about 5 hours, and to be honest, it kind of does a good job with catching you up. I haven't felt like I've really missed anything. You can tell there's like little references and stuff to characters in the past, obviously. And if you knew the series like the back of your hand and you played all the other games, then you'd probably get more out of this. But that said, I don't feel lost. So if you did want to catch up, this is the best way to do it. This story summary in the main menu, apparently it's about 2 hours worth of reading, but it is the entire history of the Trails series. So if you want to get immersed in the world and the game before you start, have a look at that from the main menu, the backstory, and you can get stuck into it. But let's have a look at the game itself. We're going to load my current save in. Now, as I say, I've only managed to put in around about 5 hours of this, just for a variety of reasons, with sort of the struggles with lockdown and sort of finding time at home. But also, one of the reasons is I just don't really have time for these massive JRPGs anymore. And this is a huge game. The fact that I've played, say, 5 hours, just over 5 hours, and most of that has been cutscenes and chatting. So if you don't like a lot of reading, if you don't like a lot of sort of storytelling and exposition in your games, then maybe this one would be one to avoid. But that said, it really sort of annoys me in games at times when there's that much reading. But with that said, I really enjoyed the story in Trails 3 so far, and I definitely want to keep on playing, which, considering I'm trying to avoid these big JRPGs at the moment, it's quite a feat that it's got me invested and playing. But here we go. So this is your main character. You play as Rean. Apparently in the older games he was a student at various faculties and helping out in the wars that sort of happen in these JRPG games. But in this entry he is has transitioned into a teacher of this big academy, and he's leading a group of younger heroes, sort of training them up. Now this part, straight off the bat, this reminds me so much of Fire Emblem Three Houses that it makes me a little bit embarrassed for Fire Emblem, because this is just basically, or Fire Emblem I should say, is basically just a complete and utter rip of this system. Now I don't know if Trails stole it from another JRPG and down the line it goes, but yeah, if you played the Fire Emblem Three Houses and sort of the running around the academy, talking to students, doing little mini quests, chatting to people to build up your links with them, your bonds with them, yeah, that all came from this game pretty much wholesale. The performance on the Switch, as I haven't played too much, I'm not going to be able to talk too much about the game. What I will talk about is some of the performances and some of the systems in the game, which so far have been really impressive. So far I've really just done the tutorial, which was a load of combat. The prologue, which is, maybe I'll come back to that in a bit as well, but that was like kind of a big battle. And this bit here in the academy, wandering around. But the performance has been absolutely rock solid. I mean, obviously it's not the best looking game on the Switch, but it looks nice enough. But the performance is great. It just runs at a really nice frame rate, and considering this is a massive open world, there's barely any load times. You know, there's load times if you go from one big area to another, but the areas are huge, and you can go inside pretty much any building, any room inside the building. Like this academy here has like, I don't know how many rooms, you know, many rooms, 20, 30, 40 rooms maybe. You can go into them, you can have a look around. This must belong to one of the younger boys in the room. And yeah, it just, there's no loading, it's just brilliant. You can just, oh, excuse me. You can just wander into any location. There's sort of, as well as sort of the dorm rooms, there are like cafeterias and games rooms and all this kind of thing. You can just wander into some really impressive stuff. I think this is the cafeteria. I think so. Here's the kitchen. As you can see, it's really detailed, and so you can talk to pretty much every single non-player character in the game, and it builds up your sort of relationship with them. If we look here, if you press the minus button, you can bring up your sort of notebook, it's called. So let's have a quick go through that. We've got your sort of little tasks that you need to complete in each section. This is your battle notes, so when you meet different creatures in the dungeons and stuff, make notes. And what I really like about this, I've seen this in other JRPG games as well, but the more you fight creatures, the more information you can gather on them. There's also magic spells and some other abilities as well that let you gather information sort of very quickly. But basically, the more you confront enemies, the more you unlock about them, which I really like in games, because it sort of gives you incentive to keep hunting them down, to find out their strengths and weaknesses and all little stuff about them. So that's really cool. These are the characters that you meet and the bond levels. So loads of detail. As I say, if you like reading, if you really like games that are got lots of history and backstory and lore, then you're going to love the Trials game, because it's just full of information and backstory and all that kind of good stuff. Recipes. What JRPG would be complete without cooking and recipes? Surprisingly, there's no curries yet, but I'm sure they're on this big list of foods that you can cook here somewhere. But yeah, basically you can find the ingredients around, and it gives you status buffs. So this one here, this chunky potato salad, will restore 500 HP and increase your defensive stats for 2 turns. As you can see, there's some tabs here that I haven't unlocked yet. Last tab that I haven't got unlocked here is books. There's a big library in the academy here, and you can go and read books. And again, to your heart's content, you can read all about different things that are in the game. So this is the main hub of the game. After sort of doing the tutorial, the prologues, the introductions, I've ended up here. I've had to build up my bonds with the 3 other members of my class, deliver some items for them, chat to lots of people. It's got this really weird sort of styling to it. I guess it's quite sort of old school JRPG, but basically a lot of the characters are just flat rude to you, to your face. So it's quite a jolt when you get that, and they're literally just sort of being very rude straight at you. So that's something. It's one of the sort of traits of these games. You sort of start off not very well liked, and then win people over. So let's go head on outside and have a look around the outside. As you can see, there's a short little loading screen here, but it really isn't that long considering the size of the areas. So we're into a big open world area here. You can press what button is it? Y to bring a map up, and you can fast travel to basically any area, which again, lovely quality of life feature. No matter where you are, you can just fast travel to places you've unlocked. And then obviously these exclamation marks will show the areas that you can visit that have got people in that you can speak to. So I think we're already in the station square, but you can fast travel, as I say, to anywhere. And let's head off and see who we can speak to. I'm going to try and cut this video and see if we can get to some combat, just so I can show you that before the video ends as well. Because it's all well and good just walking around doing all this story stuff. But as I say, once it gets into like a chat with characters, it can really go on for sort of 5, 10, 15 minutes at a time. So as I say, bear that in mind, be prepared that there is a lot of reading, but as I say, it has sucked me in, and I've really been enjoying sort of meeting all the characters and hearing their stories. So I've got a shopkeeper here, which is going to whiz for this. Oh, another nice quality of life feature. Obviously, you can press A to skip through chat just like you can in any other game. But you can also press L, and it just absolutely zooms through the chat. So if you played the game before, I can't think of any other reason why you'd want to do that unless you're really, really bored with the chatting. So press the L button on the controller and it will just fly through all the chat automatically. So, I mean, yeah, we've missed a little bit out there, but there you go. So, we've unlocked fishing. Again, another JRPG staple. So, you can go to fishing points and try to catch fish. Again, it's just like everything that you... If you enjoy JRPG games, everything that you expect, everything that you want from a JRPG, it's in Trials series. So we don't go and speak. There's one thing that's bugging me, and if you see the way I'm controlling the camera, it doesn't seem to be an option to invert the right stick. So I really like sort of inverted controls, but on here, push up on the right stick, the camera goes down, pull down, and the camera goes up. I kind of want to do that the other way around, but there's no option to change the inversion on that, which is a bit of a shame. So as you can see there, we went to the food and miscellaneous shop, did that. We have got someone else we should really speak to in there by the looks of it. But as I said, I'm going to try and cut the video now and get to some combat, just so you can see that. And then you've got a good idea of how sort of the hub overworld bit plays and how the combat plays. So I shall return with some combat, hopefully. Okay, so what I've done is actually restarted the game on a new save, because I wanted to speak about this anyway, but also this is going to get to show us some combat. So here is the combat, and it's turn-based, and you get a sort of freedom of movement. So you can select move here with the B button and choose where you want to move to. So also, let's take a little bit of time just to explain some of the stuff here. On the left-hand side, you've got a turn order, so you can see my current character. The top character there with the silver hair. If I do this move action, it's going to put me down into sort of I'll be sort of third slot down, which would obviously give me the next turn after the next person. And different attacks will move you down the turn order in different ways, and more powerful attacks can be delayed, so you can be pushed right down the turn order. You get this little radial menu that pops up on the right hand side of it there. You've got the X, A, Y, B buttons to pick from crafts, attack, arts and move, like we just tried. And using the D-pad you can issue orders, swap your character around, run, sort of run away from the battle, and use an item. You've also got these buttons at the bottom. You can use the minus button to automatically do the battles. L to use a link system, which at the moment on the right hand side you can see designated there by the yellow and blue lines that are linking the top two and bottom two characters. You can use an S-craft, which is a powerful attack, using the R button, and then press or hold down ZL there to get more detailed information on the sort of health bars and stuff of the characters you're facing. Top right hand corner, you've got these brave points that you can use to issue a brave command, which is a super powerful command. So the combat is a lot to take in, and the point I wanted to make is this is the very start of the game, and it throws you into like a bit of a story, and then just into this fully fledged combat with absolutely no tutorials at all. And I didn't know what the heck I was doing at the start of this game. So if you do get this and you've not played the Trials series before, it is throwing you in at the deep end, definitely, and try not to be too put off by it. Just try and muddle through the best you can. Just use like the A button to do attacks on the creatures. Try and get rid of them. They're obviously, depending on the level you play, I'm on super easy at the moment, but they shouldn't pose too much trouble. Just to dispatch them with the normal attacks. But it does just look completely overwhelming without any tutorials or anything. It's just, I'm not sure why they did this. Whether they're expecting people to sort of be fans of the series and know the attack systems inside out, I don't know. But it kind of like really set me back on the game, and I was like, do I want to carry on playing this? You know, they're throwing me at the deep end. I've no idea what's going on, but thankfully this is just kind of an introduction to the story, and then after this, without spoiling anything too much, you sort of start the game from the beginning, and you get thrown into like a tutorial dungeon that steps you through basically every single one of those combat commands. So don't worry, stick with it.
There's an opening.
Let's just take care of these, and then let's try a crafts move. So I'll show you these, how these work. So you see this move here is going to attack in a straight line. So this is really good if you've got sort of enemies lined up. You can try and take out a few of them with the same move. See here, this should hit 3 of them, I think.
I got this.
So that was a really good attack. But yeah, combat is actually really good. Once you get into it, once you get past this awkward opening section where you have no idea what's going on, and you get into that tutorial dungeon that sort of steps you through each of the commands, it's yeah, it's really fun. Definitely worth sticking with. I'm just going to try a different art here, or an arc as they call them. Just going to show you a couple more once we get rid of these drone things here. I'll just show you a couple more things. But overall, massively enjoying this game. You know, I was up front, so I've barely scratched the surface. I'd imagine at sort of 4 or 5 hours of the game. I'd imagine this is going to be like a 100+ hour game. But if you like JRPGs, I'm sure you've heard of the Trail series before and will be aware of what it's all about. But for a newbie, as I say, it hasn't really phased me apart from this beginning combat section. The sort of lack of knowledge of the story hasn't really affected me so far, and I've enjoyed sort of picking up on the characters, enjoying the combat system, enjoying the overworld and the shops, and just the amount of stuff that there is in this game is just amazing. It's got a nice soundtrack, a lot of it is voice acted. The graphics look fine, although they're not the best. I just think it's a really, really top tier JRPG game for the Switch. It's $60 in America, $54 in the UK, I think. So quite premium price, but as I say, you're getting a lot here for your money. Just wanted to show you these bits here as you're wandering through the combat. You can attack these pots to get items from. And yeah, so I'm not going to spoil too much more of this story because this is, say, basically the beginning of the prologue, and I think there's something going on up there. So we'll probably end it there. So thanks for watching. I'm sorry it's not a sort of super in-depth video. I wanted to be honest. I didn't want to sort of give you a review score or something, having only played so little. But what I have played so far, massively enjoyed. I mean, I'm sure if you're interested in the game, you've watched other reviews and know it's reviewed massively well, both in the past and the Switch version. There's plenty of good Switch reviews out there of this one. So that's my take on Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 3 on the Switch. A must really for JRPG fans, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave me a comment below what you think of JRPG games. Switch is becoming a bit of a JRPG monster, isn't it? So really great machine if you love that genre of games. Give me a thumbs up and a subscribe if you're new here, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks everyone, bye bye.